Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Forex Market Preview. My name is Jason Stapleton, and I want to thank you so very much for joining me. Today, it was going to be a little bit different. Sometimes we like to, most of the time, we go through the markets and we take a look at the charts and what's going to happen in the next week, and I kind of give you some trading ideas and show you what I'm looking at and walk through some thought process with you. Then other times we do some actual training, and that's what I'd like to do with you this week is talk to you a little bit about Elliott Wave. Elliott Wave can be one of the most confusing things that you'll try and do in your career, or it can be it's very simple to understand and simple to implement the concepts and ideas. And what I want to do today is really just walk through with you and talk to you simply about what it is, how it works, and how you can use it. Now, a lot of you guys who follow me and who have been with me for a long time and who are students of Elliott Wave see pieces of it scattered throughout the training that we do. And that's because if you're going to be a technician, if you're going to be involved in technical analysis as your primary means for navigating the market, you're going to have to understand a little bit about Elliott Wave and the concept behind it, because it's based on structure and the way markets move. And it can be an extremely valuable tool to have in your toolkit. With that said, I'm not an expert on it. I know enough to teach it to you, but there are other people in the industry who spend their life doing this, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. The other thing is, if you are a real student of this and you do this, as part of your trading, you may find this to be just a little bit elementary. And I apologize for that, but we're going to start with the basics here so that everybody kind of understands the concept. So let's jump here into the chart. And it doesn't matter what chart we have up, because I'm not going to use the chart today. I'm actually just going to come in here and use the blank part of the screen. Let me get rid of the RSI here. So now we've just kind of got a blank template. And the way this works, Elliott Wave is based off of a simple principle, okay? Let's say the market's going down here. We do something like this, and then we get a rally, okay? The initial rally that comes. Now, I am doing this based off of the structure that I teach, which is basically a higher high, higher close, break above, close above. Those of you guys who are part of the Technical Trader Workshop know exactly what I'm talking about here. Break above, close above. That resistance area there gives us a new structure high and signifies for us a shift in trend direction. Now, if you are an Elliott Wave guy, this is an indication of potentially being what they would call the one leg, okay? And as we watch this, so we would be looking at this saying, okay, this could be a potential one leg of the Elliott Wave pattern. And this is the initial leg that happens off of this. From there, we get a retracement. And I'm going to talk about the psychology behind this in just a minute, but let's just walk through the actual legs. Then we get a retracement. Okay, if we're playing this off of our view of technical analysis and what we tend to look for here, we'll be looking for previous structure of resistance, then equals support. So we'll be looking for something like this to happen, where the market comes back down into that level and retests that previous structure high by coming back in and retesting it. So we're going to look for that retracement. In Elliott Wave terms, we'd be looking at this as potentially being the two leg of the move. Okay, everybody follows? We got a one leg and then the two leg, the retracement. Then we see the market shoot up like a rocket. Okay, and of course we would consider this the trend continuation of the move, and there's all kinds of different ways that you can use this to enter. The opportunities really become endless at that point. But we get this long upward move. Now in Elliott Wave speak, this is the three leg. Okay. Then the market tends to do something like this, where we get a pullback and then we get a rally, and you get something like this. And again, very simply, we have the four leg, and the five leg, okay? So the four is the retracement here, and then the five is the move up. Then what we see is we tend to see an ABCD move down, something like this, okay? And I'm just drawing this in. So then this would be, again, if I'm just drawing this in, this would be A, B, C. Okay? And it would look something like this. This is the general format of how Elliott wave functions. And again, guys, this is very, very basic. But I want to explain why this works and why it's really powerful. So as we look back onto the charts here, think about if we understand that trading, the technical analysis, what we're really seeing is we're seeing the action taken of all market participants in the market that we're trading. So we're seeing what action everyone is taking here. And if we look at this in terms of the psychology of the market, what do we get? We get the initial press up and the break of structure, indicating a potential market reversal. And you got a group of people who, as this market came down, decided for whatever reason that this was a pretty good place to buy. And they start buying, and this is where they get in. And then you see the pullback, okay? And this pullback happens when, naturally, at some point during the press up, all of these buyers who bought during the first phase of this move are going to be exhausted, and sellers are going to come in, and you're going to get some profit takers out of here. And that's why we see this pullback of the two-leg. Now, everybody who is a student of structure and who's watching what's happening, who watched this market rally up, break structure to the outside, and now they're looking at it saying, oh, okay, this looks like it could be a trend. I'm a trend follower. I want to look for hopping on that trend. So then we get the retracement, and as we retrace back down into previous structure support, resistance ends up being support, and then we get all these buyers who come into the market about right here who say, hey, this is going to be a really good place to buy. And then we see the market start to climb and climb, and more people hop on that run, and we see it rally. And guys, typically in Elliott wave, the third wave is the biggest wave. And again, from a psychological standpoint, it makes sense. It stands to reason that the three-leg would be the biggest leg because we've got confirmation of the trend. And you've got buying that happens all the way up here. And then as we start to hit the four leg of the move, again, we see exhaustion in the market. Everybody who was going to buy has bought. And now there's going to be some profit taking. And as the market pulls back, profit taking occurs. Then, at this last leg, what you've got is you've got these series of people who saw this move, then they watched this move, they watched it run away, and then they watched it pull back, and they said, I've got to get on this move. It's giving me the chance to get on board. And then they hop on board, and we get a very small, little shallow fifth leg. Reason being is because all of the smart money has already been in the move. When we start talking about, who's the smart money, who's dumb money, for lack of a better term, guys who get in on wave one, certainly wave two, once they've seen the break of structure, they're watching the pullback of wave two, and they're riding that third wave. That's where all the real money is in the move. Then you get profit taking. Then you get this last little ditch effort from all the people who watched the market rally and who didn't take a position. End up, okay, now I feel comfortable enough that I'll hop on the wave. Boom, just in time to watch it retrace. And then you get this nice ABCD retracement to the downside. And so, as you guys can see, there is a wealth of information that you can derive from Elliott wave, telling us, what the strength of the move is, who's behind the move, how much authority is behind it, by looking at the wave count. And it also makes sense psychologically when we start thinking about, okay, what does this mean when we talk about traders from their desk, traders from the floor making decisions? What can we derive from the decisions that we're making here? And it makes really good sense from that standpoint as well. Now, guys, this is really a fascinating subject, and in the 10 or 15 minutes that this video comes out, you're just not going to have time to get as clear a picture as you probably should. And there are a variety of ways to trade this. One of the very best people at this is a gal by the name of Jody Samuels. She's a professional trader. She has just started recently doing some training on her particular style of trading, which is derived from Elliott wave. But she uses a very unique trading strategy to work with Elliott wave that eliminates a lot of the subjectivity that I don't like in Elliott wave. So underneath this video, either if you're watching it on YouTube, it'll be in the comments section, or right underneath the video on the webpage is a link to Jody's training. She's got a couple of free trainings that she's doing. I would highly suggest that you go and do that right now. I actually took her course last year as a continuing education course. I thought it was a really good course. You will notice right away that she doesn't have the flair or I guess, presence that I have in terms of my ability to communicate. But it does not mean that the content is not really, really good. So I would highly suggest that you go there and you check out her 2 free videos, because it is, like I said, it's really good content. You're going to learn a ton. And of the people that I sent there last year who took her course, they absolutely loved it. And so it's going to be a very valuable use of your time to go there and check it out. And like I said, Elliott Wave is an amazing concept. It is developing that if-then process, that if-then syntax in writing your rules out that really makes it effective. So go and check out what Jody's doing, and I will talk to you guys next week, and we'll jump right back into the charts to start looking at some more analysis. Thanks, guys.